What is going on, guys? Welcome back to the channel. Coach Scott King here. Today I want to talk a little bit about hypnosis. Let's get into it. What's going on, guys? Welcome back to the channel. Coach Scott King here. I run a DJ business and I teach what I learned from NLP and hypnosis. And today I just wanted to talk a little bit about hypnosis because there's like a lot of different, information out there, and maybe some people are misguided and don't exactly know what it is. And, it can really help you if you let it, or you can let it take you down a dark path. It all depends. It's up to you. So before we get too into it, let's go over a textbook definition of it. Hypnosis is a natural state of focused attention and heightened suggestibility where the subconscious mind becomes less active, allowing access to the subconscious mind. Now, it's similar to reading a book and getting really comfortable with it, but fully aware and deeply relaxed and receptive to new ideas. So let's just talk about, a little bit about trance, right? Sometimes people come up and they'll be like, well, you're not going to hypnotize me. It's like, well, I got to wake you up out of the trance you're in to get into this one. So here's a couple different examples, right? Like highway hypnosis. So if you've ever been on the highway and then you look down and a whole hour has passed and you're like, whoa, that was fast. Felt like it was seconds. So basically that's a type of trance, right? And then also if you've ever gotten lost or wrapped up into a movie and you start crying or get enraged and yet they're still just actors on a screen, like, right? We all know it's make-believe, but at the same time, we're getting involved into the movie. That's the type of trance. And then there's doom scrolling. Wouldn't be doing that now, would you? Or just think about how much time has passed when you're actually, doom scrolling and you're like, oh man, I could have been doing something more productive, maybe. And then of course there's the whole adrenaline, right? Well, sometimes you'll see like football players, they'll get a scratch on them or maybe hurt themselves pretty bad, but they have adrenaline running and they're so focused on something else. And then once that settles down, then they feel the pain. And then there's selective attention, right? You could be focused or zoomed in on a TV and someone could be talking to you, but you weren't paying attention. So you were so in trance into the TV or whatever you were doing that someone was talking to you and it just kind of went over your head and you have to go, huh? What'd you say? That kind of thing. And then of course there's daydreaming. I don't know. I get caught drifting off quite a bit. Someone will come up and be like, how you doing? I'm like, oh, look, let me come back to this world. So if you don't think you could be hypnotized by a hypnotist and then you're not suggestible, then the hypnotist isn't going to want to play around with somebody who doesn't want to be hypnotized. So it's not like it's mind control or anything like that. It's more like, well, would you like to be hypnotized? Then you would move forward. And that's kind of how like the whole persuasion works when it goes to, sales calls, that I don't move from one step and then go to the next step unless they're on the same boat, right? So if you were doing a sales call, be like, well, do you need this service? They say yes, right? Well, would you like to be hypnotized? Yes. Then that means they would be suggestible to your next commands. And that's basically how my whole sales process and business works, right? But it also transcribes to hypnosis. Like the process is still the same. It's just the content that you're using in order to get the desired effect or state, right? So some myths versus reality. Not everyone can be hypnotized. Well, you guys go into a trance daily. Trust me, we're probably in a trance right now just watching this video, right? Hypnotists will control your mind. Well, basically you remain in control and aware throughout. So you might see somebody on stage at a hypnotist show doing some things, yet they can blame it on hypnosis, right? So it's not me doing that. It's me being hypnotized. That you can blame it on the hypnotist, and yet you can still, act strangely on stage, right? What's another myth here? That you're going to reveal your darkest secrets. No, you maintain your values and privacy. And that's another thing, too, with NLP practitioners and hypnotists, right? It's content less or content free, right? We don't need to know what the issue is. We could just guide you to the issue, work your way around the issue, and not even know what it is. Even though when you do help somebody out in a hypnosis session, they're more than willing to tell you what it is because you've built that level of rapport, and you wouldn't want to, as a hypnotist, wouldn't want to share that with other people, that some of the things that have come up during sessions, right? And another thing, is it manipulation? No, it's more like working together to resolve an issue, whatever the issue is. And then the job of the hypnotist would be to ask what the issues are before you go into a session, because it's not like someone who's, reading your palms or something like that. No, you have an idea of what you want to work on. You go in. So let's explain this part real quick. So your conscious mind can handle, we'll say, 7 bits of information, plus or minus 2. Basically, if I was to prove this, I would be like, well, can you tell me what your left pinky feels like? And you're like, oh yeah, I could feel that. Well, that feeling was always there. Your subconscious was taking that in, but your conscious mind was watching this video, right? So basically, when you go into hypnosis, you talk to your subconscious mind that has all this information, and then you bring forward new realizations to your conscious mind so that you can walk a different path to get basically a different result of what you're doing now. And that's another thing too. If you're repeating the same steps over and over and over again and getting the same results, then you might want to see a hypnotist, talk to a hypnotist, hypnotherapist, to figure out what loop you're in so that you can get out of it. And that's basically, NLP will ask you more questions to get you out of a stuck loop. Even though hypnosis can do it as well, your subconscious would just bring up new ideas as you are deep in trance. So what are some of the benefits, right? You can do stress reduction, breaking bad habits, pain management, better sleep, increased focused attention, confidence building, sports performance, and weight management. And you might be like, oh, how does it work on all those things? Well, it works on what you want to work on when you go into a session. And how does it work? Well, it's a natural state, similar to meditation. Some people say that meditation is kind of like emptying the cup, where hypnosis is like filling the cup. Something to think about. And it works with your subconscious mind. It bypasses your critical factor. So basically, again, we were talking about your conscious mind, 5 or 7 bits of information plus or minus 2, and your subconscious mind has everything. Let's just say your conscious mind is there to like protect you. So when you go up to people, you're talking to, somebody who's got their fist up, like the little Irish man from Boston Celtics, right? Like every time you talk to somebody, unless you have like deep rapport, but when you meet new people, you're pretty much like this because you don't know what they're going to do. And pretty much, maybe a lot of people may put somebody into a, well, you're going to hurt me bucket, right? Until they've proven themselves otherwise. So it takes a little while for your subconscious mind to warm up to other people that you may not know. And then, of course, it helps you create new natural pathways and uses the power of focused attention. So basically, if you want to get started, I have a link on my website, and I'm a certified hypnotist. And then what to expect is me to ask you questions about things you want to work on. I've had a couple calls with some people, and they're kind of like stuck, like, oh, okay, well, you ask harder questions so that you can come up with different answers for your subconscious mind to work on that. Right? You can also do self-hypnosis. I have another YouTube channel called Let's Get Your Mind Right, and I did a whole track that you can listen to on that website. If you're interested, leave a comment down below. So online versus in person, you don't need to be into a hypnotist office in order to get the desired results. In fact, it probably works better online because you'll be in a more comfortable state or a more comfortable atmosphere, especially if you're working from home and you're in a comfortable chair and you know your surroundings. It'll be easier for you to relax and then easier to take suggestions. So basically, guys, I just wanted to cover that real quick. And if you're interested in a hypnosis session, make sure to go to the website, www.coachscottking.com. Sign up for a one-on-one session, and I got a calendar on the website. Thanks for your time, and best wishes.